Okay, I'd like to give us an introduction to GIS technology. So, what is GIS? It's a collection of data that is spatially referenced. Spatially referenced information, what does that mean? That means that it is information, which is some sort of what do we want, and where is it? So another way of looking at it is data that has coordinates that relate to a place on the globe. Spatial information, 3D space, latitude, longitude, and elevation. GIS is typically a computer-facilitated system. Computers now are iPads and iPhones and Android phones. It's not just, however, software and hardware, but it relates to a sequence as we go around from what is happening in the world, how do we define, how we extract what's happening in the world, how are we collecting and editing that data to place it on the world, and then do some sort of analysis of the data to then generate reports or maps so that we can then provide that back to groups of people that can decide and act. So the GIS system incorporates all of these components. Why do we need it? Well, we need it because the human population has taken off. We're sitting here pretty low up until about 1900, and now what we're doing is putting an increased effect on our resources. So because we have such an effect now and profitability with respect to where those resources are, it is becoming very important that we know where we are on the globe and how we can profit from or affect the globe as we go. To give you kind of an idea here, this is 2003 near Los Angeles. We had some wildfires, and you can see that the aerial photography, satellite photography shows us the smoke, but we've got digitized down here at a lower level exactly where the fires were contained on an acre by acre basis. So we can measure this space inside this polygon here and determine how many acres at that point are actually on fire. The aerial photography itself makes it look like the entire place is on fire when the reality is the fire is in these localized regions. So there's lots of G's involved. We have the Geographic Information System. We have the Global Positioning System, and this is an identification of where your location is. And then we have the Global Navigation Satellite System, which is a series of satellites that orbit the Earth that allow us to triangulate where we are. And then we have Google for Google Maps. You can kind of get a feel here. This is something without really any formal education that you could get involved in doing information that has, for example, this is a view of the campus, and this is a nice 1.2-mile hike that heads down the hill and comes back up. And it has some information over here. This can be public, and so we have these geographic information systems now that are very public for us to interface with. And where they evolve are a view of the world. So we have the real world down here as to what's going on. And we're going to represent that world in a series of layers. And each one of those layers are identifying different information. For example, you can see here that this is a flat layer where the colors of each individual pixel relate to how the land is being used. So industrial is dark gray, and perhaps lighter gray would be maybe residential area. And then blue for rivers or water features and so on. And then we could manipulate this such that the values that were given on each individual layers relate to some elevation at that particular point. And we have then parcels, so we may have a tax map here that lays down on top that shows us who owns what parcel. So these would be polygons that identify the boundaries of your home. And then street data would be lines. And so we've got lines, and you can see there it could be different colors and different thicknesses and so on, depending on the kind of identifying the type of road. And then lastly, so this is line data, and then we can have point data. So the two generic classifications are vectors, which are points, lines, and polygons. And then we have raster images, which are individual pixels that have different values. The next opportunity will be go to your first assignment, and we'll take a look at interfacing with the program and bringing in some of the layers to get involved.